the world's best bowlers, all with one goal in mind, winning a Denny's PBA Tour title. These bowling stars have combined for 22 titles and 5 majors. All that talent on display, but only one can win the trophy and take home the big prize money. Who will it be in this West Texas town?
Right there.
We'll find out next. The Denny's PBA Tour brings you the Sun City Classic.
Maybe it's my day. What do you think?
From Oasis Lanes in El Paso, Texas, ESPN presents live coverage of the Denny's PBA Tour. Today, 4 of the world's top bowlers compete for big prize money and a one-season exemption. Now, all 4 are ready to roll.
One of the hottest bowlers on tour, this former PBA Player of the Year, is making his 3rd TV appearance in the last 5 weeks. Today, he looks for his 9th career title from Wesley Chapel, Florida, Patrick Allen.
After no lefties won on tour in the season's first half, the Southpaw Storm has taken over the PBA Tour. Jason Couch has 3 shows and 2 titles, and Patrick Allen has a win in 3 shows. Can the lefty luck continue today in El Paso? PA wants to show the way.
This 6-time titleist and former PBA Player of the Year is looking for his first title since 2005. A native of Finland, he now resides in Heartland, Michigan. The Big Finn, Mika Koivuniemi.
Major Mika, lefty's worst nightmare, is back. Mika had a long streak of success against lefties before Patrick Allen ended that party at the 05 US Open. Now the rivalry is back on center stage. Mika wants to start a new string of wins against Southpaws, and he wants to do it today.
This tour veteran is looking to break the longest winless drought on tour as he shoots for his first title since 1994. From Tulsa, Oklahoma, Mike Edwards.
No one defines dedication like Mike Edwards. For 25 years, he's competed on this tour, but has only 1 win to show for it. Now he has a chance at redemption. A win today will help erase some of the frustration that has built up over a quarter century.
This 7-time titleist is making his 3rd TV appearance of the season. Today he looks for his first title since capturing the 2006 Tournament of Champions. From Double Oak, Texas, Chris Barnes.
Chris Barnes has taken home huge paychecks over the last 2 seasons. But to one day be considered among the all-time greats of our sport, he needs more wins on tour. He looks to move in that direction today.
Right there. Yes. Yes.
These are your finalists competing for the title in the 2007 Sun City Classic.
We are glad to be back in the Sun City for the first time since 2005 when Parker Bone III won his 30th and last PBA title. Overall, this is the 12th appearance for the Denny's PBA Tour in El Paso, Texas, the first event held here back in 1961. This is a standard match play PBA tournament. Bowlers went through 2 7-game blocks of qualifying in the round of 64. The top 32 went from that to best of 7 match play late last week. Bowlers competed head-to-head to get down to our final 4. Hello, bowling fans. Welcome to West Texas. Glad you could join us. Well, today we have the latest edition in one of the most heated Denny's PBA Tour rivalries. Right-hander Mika Koivuniemi from Finland against American lefty Patrick Allen. At times, the rivalry has been nothing short of heated and intense. Will we have more fireworks today? That's the question. More on that and a preview of our second semifinal. Let's go to Randy Peterson and Norm Duke.
Dave, an Ollie Frazier type of rivalry, and it all started when Mika Koivuniemi beat his first 11 left-handed opponents on television. But Norm, that all came to a screeching halt at the US Open in 05 when Patrick Allen finally beat Mika in a roll-off.
Well, nothing lasts forever, Randy. But the reason this rivalry is so intense is the reaction of each player after their victory. Mika self-proclaiming to be the lefty's worst nightmare. And then when Patrick Allen finally snapped that streak, he slaps it off in Mika's face. Now, as with all rivalries, it tends to elevate the play of each of the professionals. And that is what I look forward to for today.
Our second semifinal matchup features Mike Edwards and Chris Barnes. And Norm, when I think of Chris Barnes, I think about all the cash this professional has made over the last 2 seasons.
Cha-ching.
We all remember the 05 U.S. Open, Chris's first major, $100,000. This is last year's Tournament of Champions, another $100,000. 2 seasons ago, he captured his first Motel 6 roll to riches, 200 grand. And last season, who can forget this shot right here? Brooklyn strike, another 200 grand for Chris Barnes.
That's the luckiest shot I've ever had in my life right there.
4 tournaments, $600,000 in 2 seasons for Chris Barnes. His opponent, 25-year veteran and a good friend of yours, Mike Edwards.
Yeah, Mike and I go way back. In fact, we were tour roommates when I was but a teenager. And I remember 1985 when he led almost wire to wire in the Quaker State. Steps up in the 10th frame, needing a mark to win his first championship, and leaves a pocket 4-9 split. Didn't convert, and basically gave the title to Mike Durbin. Now, that was catastrophic for Mike mentally. But he says time heals all wounds. And it'll be interesting to see today if Mike can end his television woes.
This week's scorpion pattern measures 41 feet. It can be tricky, as you'll find out in your PBA Experience Leagues. The thing that makes this pattern tough is there's a heavier volume of oil at the 41-foot mark than the front part of the lane. What this does is it creates carry down at the break point. Look for the righties to be going straight up second arrow and chasing it in as the pattern breaks down. Patrick Allen, our lone lefty, well, he'll be piping it hard up second arrow. And just like the scorpion, strike, strike, strike.
We are set for the first of 2 semifinals leading us to the championship match. Patrick Allen, Mika Koivuniemi from Heartland, Michigan. Originally from Finland. 6 times a winner on the tour. 10-pin for Mika, known as Major Mika. First 2 titles were majors. First time that's happened in tour history. First foreign-born player as well to win the Masters.
Yeah,
start his career.
Yeah, he starts with his flat 10, just not getting the ball to roll through the pins. Deflection causes those 10 pins.
Also a U.S. Open winner, Major Mika Koivuniemi. Starts off with a spare, leading us to Patrick Allen, one of the hottest players on tour. And what a second half it has been for the lefties. Just a remarkable turnaround after no titles won by Southpaws in the first half of our season.
One thing I like most about Patrick Allen is he's got respect for the game. He's got respect for the players before him, the ones that have paved the way, and he's got respect for the professionals out here today.
Will we see the intensity in this rivalry that has been the case in the past? Not the hit Patrick wanted to begin things, and he's got a very difficult spare to finish up here.
When we talked with Patrick last night, we asked him, since he was a lone lefty, what he was going to do in terms of trying to create a better shot or a better ball reaction to the pocket. He said, Norm, he was going to take a sanded ball and burn up a spot outside and use that as dry, but that ball never hooked.
No, he got that one off his hand a little early. He also said he was going to try to stay behind the ball longer.
3, 6, 7, 9. 7 stands in an early open for Patrick Allen. Norm, that leads us to the Ace Hardware matchup. You just know PA wanted to get a mark to begin this match, especially with the intensity the rivalry has produced before.
Yeah, and as you see here, the average for Patrick Allen a lot more than Mika Koivuniemi, 230 to 222. Patrick Allen qualifying in second, Mika all the way down in 25th. But their match play numbers are the same, their high games are the same, and these guys want to win badly.
Strike numbers this week. Not great. The Scorpion pattern did yield 8 300 games this week. The lone multi-300 game bowler was Doug Kent, not on the show today. All 10 down there for Patrick Allen. Much better shot.
And a ball change, you can see a difference in reaction there. Norm, he looked a little bit more comfortable the way he let go of it. That's the Patrick Allen we're used to seeing, is a little bit more speed and a little bit more aggressiveness.
And a lot of rack shredding.
11-pin advantage early for Mika. Amazing to think he started his career with 11 straight victories over lefties.
Yeah, the big fin still having problems getting that ball to hook on the back end. This was something, Randy, that he talked about last night, being his biggest problem early on in the year is just not being able to get his ball to roll harder on the back end.
Yeah, he talked about lack of hook, and his carry problems have been because the ball's just not driving through the pins hard enough, and that's when he's hitting the pocket. When he's not hitting the pocket, it's because he can't get his ball to turn over and hook. I think a lot of it is because he's a big man. He's 6'4", 6'5". He's got a very long arm swing. And remember, he comes from Europe where the tendencies over there back in the day were the lanes really hooked a lot. So Mika's game was designed around that. That's why he lofts it. He's really good at going straight. But when he has to hook it, he struggles.
Different game certainly for Mika. His road to TV as he does convert that double wood. Nicely done on the 2-4-8. Dino Castillo, who came out of the tour qualifying round, is having a very good year, trying to earn exemption again. He was a player who was exempt last year due to a nice tour trial appearance in 2005. That went the distance. 8-pin lead for Mika. All 10 down, and Mika's not had the greatest of years, Randy. Just the second show no titles, and we talked last night about having to change his game with the hook.
You know, he's trying to figure out a way to get it to start rolling sooner, and you can see that ball actually did pick up. Norm, you know, I know that I had the same problem trying to get my ball to hook. What do you think the best way for someone to go about trying to create a little bit earlier roll? What's the way to do it?
Well, you first of all want to decrease your ball speed. That gives the ball time to hook. Secondly, you have to expose the ball to the driest part of the lane. And oftentimes when you tug the ball into that carry down, you don't get the roll.
Again, a light hit. He's just not found the pocket on either lane so far in a very difficult split.
Now, as you see on this scorpion pattern, we talked about the pile of oil right there, retarding the ball's ability to hook. Doesn't drive, doesn't carry as often, Randy, and leaves a lot more splits.
I got to tell you, though, I'm real surprised at the fact that PA has not figured out a way to get to the pocket on the right lane with all the practice that he had in the first two shots. But he has found the pocket on the left lane, so he's got half of them figured out.
Cannot convert the 3-7. Another open frame for Patrick Allen, trying to find his look into the 1-2 pocket. It has been a fabulous second half of the year for him as we see his run to TV. Qualified second, so he has been on top throughout. The 2 7-game blocks in the round of 64. 5-game win over Brian Kretzer in the round of 8. 3 shows in 4 weeks. Won the second half opener in Reno. Lost to Jason Couch, stepladder finals in the LA area. Now on this show, so 3 shows. Already the second half. Whoa, it's a really high shot. Another split. Difficulty continues here for PA.
Yeah, you know, we saw last week the only right-hander on the floor struggling. This Patrick Allen, the only left-hander in today's telecast, struggling. 3 splits out of 4 shots. This time trying to help the ball through the pins.
Yeah, and we know what a miserable day it was for poor Brett Angelo last week, and now it looks like it's the same thing all over again, only on the other side of the lane.
2-4, 6-10. Yikes.
Yep.
Another open, and he is in a huge run.
Boy, if you're Mika Koivuniemi, you need a drool bucket right about now.
Patrick told us last night that the very first game of each of his rounds, he probably averaged about 190. He struggled. But as he bowled on the lanes, he got more and more confident, more and more reaction. So let's look for him to finish better the back half of this game.
Well, he better to have, if he wants to have a sniff.
Won't be easy with the numbers Mika has put up in his first match on TV throughout his great career. There's a 9-pin, solid shot there. Former player of the year is Mika with his 6 titles.
And Norm, this is the hit right here that put me into retirement, because I'd go like flat 10, weak 10, and then I'd follow it up with a stone 9. So I kind of know what Mika's going through. Of course, that was a long time ago.
Not that long ago, partner. Randy's won 13 titles on tour himself. Mika could have had a 43-pin lead with a strike there. Would have been a double. Instead, settles for the mark. And still up by 33 pins. Big lead over his arch rival, Patrick Allen.
And when you have a bowling ball that is going too long and you're trying to get it to roll, you soften up a little bit. Too often, it just creates a sharper hook angle on the back end. That's what causes that solid 9 after the weak 10. So many times you need a ball that'll roll a little earlier, and then you can get your speed up. He's got a handful.
Looking for help across the deck, and number 10 will stand for Mika, who is a big star back home in Finland.
You can see him trying to get soft at the follow-through. In other words, not overextending after release. And again, the ball looks great going down the lane until it hits the pins.
He's won titles in 10 different countries. He's done 300 games in 7 different countries. There's a 10-pin for Mika, who every week gets a call from a member of the Finnish National News Service for internet, radio, and newspaper updates on his progress. So he's headline news back home in the Finnish sports pages every time he excels on the Denny's PBA Tour.
Yeah, and the good thing for him right now is 9 spares still forces Patrick Allen to come in with strings.
Best shot of the day for Patrick Allen, no question. He's finally found the 1-2 pocket.
Now that's the ball he started with on that lane when he left that split, and he changes to another bowling ball and then goes back to the same ball that he started with. And obviously, Dave, like you said, much better result. Now, question is, can you get it to look the same on the left lane? And I'm not so sure, by watching Patrick Allen right now, he's even sure as to what to do on this next shot, Norm.
Well, you can see it in his face right now.
Yeah.
Not the position you guys want to be in, as you know, from all of your TV appearances, you two. You're guessing like Brad Angelo last week. You're not sure where to go with it in terms of your strategy to the pocket.
There's nothing worse than being on national television and not having a clue as to what your bowling ball is going to do when you let go of it.
It's a lonely feeling. He is going with the other ball on this lane, trying to get the same reaction he just got from the blue one on the right lane. And he does.
A good, educated guess.
That's the Patrick Allen we saw win in Reno and do so well at the Dick Weber in Fountain Valley, California. The latest edition of this great rivalry, head-to-head, the semis here in El Paso. Classic on ESPN is brought to you by Ace, the official hardware store of the PBA. Ace, the helpful place. By Denny's. Denny's always works. By Discover Card, it's time a credit card put you in the driver's seat. And by Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com for a free DVD. What will you discover? Go RVing. It is, after all, Super Sunday. Will be the Colts with Dwight Freeney from Syracuse University, or the Bears with Brian Urlacher. It's all coming up. Let's get to the Tonic Edge. Ready with Mika Koivuniemi.
Remember, we've been talking about how Mika's been trying to create more hook. Hard to do when you're 6'5" and you got to swing over your head. The other thing that makes it tough for him is you notice the loft. When the ball's not on the ground, it can't hook. Something Mika's been working on. But what I really like about Mika's game is look how solid and steady that head is at the foul line. That's how you repeat shots, and that's why Mika, excuse me, is a major championship winner out here.
And right now has a 32-pin lead on his rival, Patrick Allen. Works on a spare here. 22-pin lead, my fault. All 10 down for Mika Koivuniemi.
Tight, that was tight, yeah?
Yeah, that was almost another solid 9 is what it was.
Boy, it looked like 3 or 4 pins hit the 10 pin on this shot. Yeah, that was about right. Very interesting.
In finish, Sekumenta Jalaka. 60 feet to success. Roughly translated.
In any language, Dave, it's wonderful.
10 pin.
And another flat 10, Norm.
Yeah, that was left of target, right off his hand with a little more twirl. He didn't stay behind it long enough. It didn't apex as far to the right as he's wanting to get that maximum hook, and there's the deflection. You see the ball is behind the 9 pin. Ultimately, you'd like to get the ball like it was the prior shot, finishing behind the 8 pin.
There's the 10. What do you mean by apex, Norm?
Well, there's a break point down there with the maximum amount of friction. You're trying to get the ball to that break point and have it really drive hard off of it so that it really does some damage into the pin area. That shot, he was left of that spot, did not get the reaction he was looking for. Therefore, the ball spun out.
PA down 22. 7th frame. It's a late hit, all 10 down. Patrick told us last night that he will not be outspoken, yelling, screaming as he has done in the past. Only if Mika pushes him will he push back.
And with one more strike right here by Patrick Allen, he's going to pull to within 2 pins.
Gotta go. Gotta go. Come on. Gotta go.
He's right back in it.
Wow, what a great shot that was. Just perfect right off his hand, and he knows it the whole way.
Well, that shot there, Patrick Allen just sent a message to Mika Koivuniemi saying, I'm back.
He is back after that dreadful start to this match where he had 2 opens in the first 3 frames. Now 4-bagger. Mika answers. And he's back up by 12.
And Norm, he's locked in on that right lane, and the good news for Mika is he gets to finish on that lane, but it's the left lane that he hasn't been able to strike on, and he's left a couple of flat 10s. What adjustment does Mika make in the 9th frame here?
Well, I say that he needs to move farther left, not much, just incrementally, so that he can back that speed down and again give it time to respond and get full hook out of it.
2-pin lead here for Mika. He's working on a spare. Prior to that strike.
Get lucky!
It did get lucky.
There wasn't nothing lucky about that. That was pure. He got that ball to flip up there in the 1-3, and that was tight. Now Mika can strike out and shoot 226. The best Patrick Allen can shoot 224.
Amazing twist to the match. Mika had a huge lead early. But once Patrick found his look, Norm, he locked in, didn't he?
He did lock in, and Mika felt it.
Foundation frame, another huge shot. Looks for the 5-bagger.
Got a chance.
It's got a chance, he says. Yeah.
Yeah, a really, really good chance thrown like that and hitting the 1-2 pocket where it did.
Difficult start. Since then, he's been on fire.
This is a huge shot here because with strike and 9 spare, he forces Mika to get a strike in the 10th. Now with a double, he forces Mika to get 2.
Wow, I feel like good too, man. Damn, I threw that good.
Thought it was the perfect shot. 6-10 up.
Yeah, he likes this, but maybe just a pinch soft. Once that ball starts, it doesn't stop. High on that pin, and lucky really not to leave a split.
Now Mika just needs a mark in the 10th frame and good count, and he'll move on to the title match and maybe restart his I am left-handed worst nightmare.
He told us last night he was ready to put Patrick Allen and the other lefties back in their place, which is to say firmly under his thumb. That was the situation, winning the first 11 in his career on TV against lefties.
Yeah, it's still important for Patrick Allen to fill this count shot so that Mika has to throw a good shot. When you're having trouble getting roll on the back end, it's not as easy to throw it and get count even.
Good finish for the 36-year-old from just outside Tampa, originally from Tarrytown, New York, near New York City. Will his tremendous second half continue? He'll need some help from Mika now. All time on TV, Mika is 3-2 against Patrick, averaging more than 224. Even the finals, 03 Cambridge Credit Classic. Did something else pretty special that day, threw a 300 game against Jason Couch.
That should do it there.
That was a mitt full. Boy, he caught all of that one.
Yeah, and as we often say,
That's the right order.
There it is. There's a trash talking, folks. We knew we'd see it.
Oh, boy. Go ahead, Norm.
yeah,
take it.
you know, the hardest mark to get is one that you don't even need count, and that's the way to get it. You just throw it high flush, it's over. You don't have to make any spares. You can trash talk. Get lined up for the next game if you have to, or not.
I can't wait to see these two go at it again.
That's one for the right order.
That's one for the right.
Not much Patrick Allen can say in response because he will not win this one today. Mika Koivuniemi will advance to the final and take on either Chris Barnes
One more.
or
No more
Mike
lefty
Edwards.
winners. No more lefty winners.
He's shutting down the southpaws as Mika.
Run for your life. I'm coming. I'll break you.
Mika knocks off his arch rival, Patrick Allen. And he's into the final here in El Paso, Texas. Much more to come from West Texas next. Koivuniemi knocks off Patrick Allen 214-202. Chris Barnes, who won the first ever PBA Skills Challenge, awaits the winner along with Mike Edwards. That's the next match. Each week we ask the best players in the world to show us what is in their bag of tricks for the PBA Skills Challenge. This week's Young Guns versus Legends matchup features semifinal action with Tommy Jones and Kelly Kulick squaring off against Doug Kent and Danny Wiseman. Get ready, bowling fans. This
I'll
could be
see
fun.
the under the chair, but most of these guys are a lot older than me, so they can't go over it.
I hope you stretch first.
Why? I'm young.
Oh, 5 is good. Hey, half is good.
You have to use your regular ball. Sorry, Kels, I gaffed that one.
Aim for that target up there, that light. Come on.
Squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it.
Up, yeah!
Oh, no.
Yeah! Oh, goodness! Yeah!
Really good.
Here we go. Hit that head through. Hit that head through.
Yeah, baby. Eight's good, eight's
Okay,
good.
that's all right.
It's better than I was going to do. I have
Excuse
the only
me?
female of the contest.
Excuse me?
Not that big of a deal if I kiss my partner. But when these two have to kiss, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, no matter what, you're kissing, so it doesn't matter. If we both throw them in the gutter, you're kissing. It doesn't matter.
What kind of kiss does this have to be?
Hey, I got a flight.
I'm starting to get a little concerned here. This is on TV, you know.
Your partner's hair is almost as long as my partner's, so I think you'll be okay.
See that?
All right, you ready, chick?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Oh, I'll get them all.
Gotta get 19.
You want to kiss me, or do I kiss you?
Kiss
Hey,
me.
don't forget about the holding hands. The holding hands is imperative for something I have going on here.
All right.
Come on, we need a 3-6-10.
Just
Doug.
pretend
Like you
you're
did against
bowling.
Ronnie.
Yep.
3-6-10.
Go.
3-6-10.
Hook a lot. Winner, baby!
Oh, baby.
Pay the price!
Doug Kent, Danny Wiseman advance to the finals and a chance at the $15,000. Next week, we'll show you highlights of the Norm Duke Brian Voss against Wes Malott. Chris Johnson semifinal. 2 weeks you can catch all the PBA Skills Challenge action in its entirety. February 18th, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Immediately following our broadcast of the Denny's PBA Tour Go RVing Classic from Council Bluffs, Iowa, near Omaha, Nebraska. We've got much more coming away from El Paso. The second semifinal, Edwards and Barnes next. Mika Koivuniemi has defeated Patrick Allen as arch rival by 12 pins. A spot in the final for Major Mika. Will take on either Mike Edwards or Chris Barnes. Bowling fans log on. More than 3,000 already have joined the fun and bowling digital destination, bowlspace.com. Bowlspace, the first online social network exclusively for bowlers, where you can share pictures, videos, and stories with bowlers from around the world. To create your own profile, simply click Bowlspace link on the PBA.com homepage. Today, there's Billy Oatman, who made a great appearance last week in Las Vegas. Nearly beat Jason Couch in a tremendous match that went down to the 10th frame. Lefty versus lefty last week.
Yeah, he's having a blast out here. Last couple of weeks have been really good for him.
Chris Barnes has not had the best of times, unfortunately for him, on TV. Last several appearances. 3-14 in his last 17. However, as he gets set to face Mike Edwards, he has won the big bucks when it's mattered the most. Great start for Barnes from Double Oak, Texas, near Dallas. And he takes on Mike Edwards from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Norm, we talked about Mike, your good friend, top of the broadcast, 25th year on tour, just the one title, way back in '94.
IOF Foresters in '94. Boy, did he bowl good in that event. Led all players.
Gets some help on number 10. A huge Oklahoma Sooners fan. We asked him how he reacted to the Boise State Fiesta Bowl game, and he said, not pretty.
Not
but
pretty,
he
no.
thinks this is pretty for sure.
And here's a form that has withstood the test of time. That short, compact backswing, good balance at the foul line, head steady. That's why he's been around for 25 years.
45 years old. This is 29th career TV appearance. Second of the season. Crossing over, has the baby split nearly out of Brooklyn strike. Also saw him at the Taylor, Michigan show, won by Tony Reyes with his 300 game.
Yeah, this is just opening shot jitters, because we watched in practice, Eddie posted every shot. He gets up on the right lane, gives it one of those double slides. Left lane, gets it off his hand a little early. There's nothing wrong, but just a little jittery.
310. Whiffs the three. Open frame early for Mike Edwards. He has had a very solid career. Became the tour's 33rd millionaire in 05-06. Just over $1 million in career earnings. Chris Barnes became the fastest bowler ever to $1 million. A touch light there. He did that in just 8 years, 220 career events to $1 million.
Well, he just missed this at the bottom, meaning he didn't quite get the leverage he was looking for at release. So he doesn't impart the type of rotation he wanted, and therefore the ball never hooked. And he knew it right away. He said, nice shot when he let it go. And quite honestly, he's fortunate just to be left with the 4-8. Look out.
Ooh. Does convert. And this is third show of the year. A player who's ranked fourth in the PBA Tour, more than a 225 average. As we see the Ace Hardware matchup, Norm, so Barnes really has had a great season, but as he told us last night, he's been upset because he hasn't been in the winner's circle enough.
Well, yeah, he has won second this year after leading in the Chicagoland area and losing to Wes Malott. But, you know, when you are a superstar like Chris Barnes, it's hard to be satisfied with anything except victories. He's used to it.
And as we saw Mika do our other righty in our opening match, leaving a week 10, it's Chris Barnes with the same kind of look on that left lane. And again, it's not only trying to get to the pocket, but figuring out a way to knock all 10 down.
We saw the numbers there, the 3 and 14 we mentioned, but 2 of the wins did come at the Tournament of Champions and the U.S. Open.
Well, better than that.
Each were for $100,000. And as we talked about earlier in the show, the Motel 6 roll to riches. 2 of them. There have been 2 titles. He has them both for a total of $400,000. Second show of the year for the guy they call Eddie.
And Norm, you know Mike as well as anybody out here, and just a quiet, calm demeanor. Never seems to have anything bother him, ever distract him. He's just always on an even keel.
Yeah, he really is. And such a nice guy. But I tell you what, right now the fire is in him. He wants to win so bad, you can tell. I think that's why he hasn't made the real pure shot yet. He just wants it. He can taste it.
It's not won in a long time, guys.
This is better.
Sure is. 257 events ago. That's the longest streak of futility among active bowlers with a title.
And Norm, he said he played the lanes different all week long. He went straight, he hooked it. I know in his last match in the round of 8, he went real straight from first arrow. And that just shows you just how good Mike Edwards is. He's versatile. He can hook it a little bit if he wants. He can go straight if he wants. And that's what got him to the show today.
Gets help. Late hit on number 10 for Chris Barnes. And bowling runs in his family, certainly. His wife, Linda, world-class bowler. She recently won a national amateur title 3 weeks ago in Reno. Many years on Team USA. And as Chris told us, we saw the finishes this year. His off-season was very busy, partially because his wife, Linda, was bowling actively. And someone's got to watch the twins. Ryan and Troy will be 5 this May.
As much money as this guy's made the last couple of years, he can buy a daycare.
How about, yeah. How about a sitter? Yeah, his wife Linda will be bowling the TQR next week, so they better have a sitter. They'll both be in the event, it looks like. Good luck to her.
Heck, I'll watch the twins.
What are your babysitting rates?
For Chris, I'll just lower him to 500 an hour. Not much.
Back to Edwards. Boom! All 10 down in a pin. Explode to the 1-3 pocket. Great shot.
Well, I told you the fire is in him, and you can tell right here. He thinks he's going to come high and leave a 4-pin, and when that thing strikes, he gets excited.
1-pin match.
Just go up by 9 pins here with a 4-bagger. Mike told us this week he was not expecting much after the first round felt good. New ball drilled, and everything fell into place for him, and here he is on the show. And with shots like that, he may make the final and take on Mika Koivuniemi, who awaits the winner. Barnes Edwards locked up in a good one. Another 5 straight strikes between these 2 right-handers. Who faces Mika in the final? We find out next. The Sun City Classic on ESPN is brought to you by H&R Block. When you got H&R Block, you got people. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com. And by the United States Bowling Congress, ensuring the integrity and protecting the future of the sport of bowling. Bowl with us. Chris Barnes and Mike Edwards head-to-head in a good matchup. Let's check in with the Denny's PBA Tour average leaders. There's our Norm Duke, top of the list. Your average hasn't changed, Norm, because you've been sidelined by the injured toe. We see Barnes and Patrick Allen in this show at numbers 8 and 9. So what is the status of your foot right now?
I'm still day-to-day. Look, I think I'm 50-50 at least for Dallas next week. But, you know, as long as I stay at the top, even the average, maybe I just won't bowling in the rest of the year.
Good idea, Norm. Give everybody else a chance. Thanks.
Trying to defend his average and points title from a year ago. Jason Couch leads the points list right now. Doug Kent, the money list. Back to Barnes. Oh, 10 down for Chris Barnes. And Randy told us before the show he's been working with Mike Jasnow. Former PBA bowler himself, who's won a couple times on tour.
Yeah, Mike Jasnow out of Reno, and he runs lane 81 over there at the bowling stadium. Mike knows a thing or two about throwing strikes. And right there with Chris Barnes, when you watch the pin action, that 6-pin going to the sidewall and caving the 10 out that fast, that's when you know that was your best release.
Yeah, and right after a commercial break, which shows just how much experience this guy has, because as we've seen throughout the season, that's the hardest shot to throw.
Looks for a 4-bagger, chance to go up by 11. Four-pin goes late.
Sometimes in order to change your luck on television, it's luck that was changing. This is about the luckiest break you can ask for.
Wow. Well, considering he thought he was going to get 6 when he let go of it, he thought it was going to go right through the nose, and it was a nice enough break just to leave the 4, but what a huge break.
He was shocked that it fell. He'll take it gladly. Now Edwards tries to keep pace. 7th frame. Looks for the 5-bagger. Has it.
Boy, what a great shot by Mike Edwards, and it's really tough when the crowd responds that way to a lucky break by your opponent. To get up there and throw one that good, Randy, is one of the toughest things that I can imagine.
Well, there's no quitting this guy. You know, you don't become a PBA champion by folding in the tent when somebody throws a 3 or 4-bagger and gets a lucky break. Right now, Mike Edwards knows he throws a strike here. He's got his foot right back on Chris's throat.
Die-hard Sooner fan. We saw the sign there. Heartbroken by the Boise State rally at the Fiesta Bowl. The miracle.
Likes it.
Yeah, for good reason. Yeah. Another big strike. Woo! He takes the lead. 6th straight. Yeah! Yeah, baby. Can Barnes respond? You bet.
And what a match if both players go to the sheet, meaning they strike out from here on out. Chris Barnes will shoot 269. Mike Edwards will shoot 268.
Edwards works on the throwing hand.
Here, make it right.
Well, he chipped a 4 earlier on this lane, and then he comes back with a little speed and aggressiveness and gets lucky and carries the wall shut. Now it's all up to Mike Edwards. He knows striking out 9th and 10th puts all the pressure back on that man right there.
Yeah, it doesn't look like these are the two players that had television woes in their past. Now it's coming down to the 10th frame. Only 1 pin separates these two bowlers, and it's who can perform in the 10th. We'll advance to see Mika in our championship.
His only title, April 16th, 94. Defeated Pete Weber in Ontario, Canada. been that long. Can he get back to the winner's circle? Wow!
Looked like he got away with one, Norm.
Yes, but he got that ball into the meat of the lane, and it rolled this ball up just high flush.
Pin and a bid for 9 in a row.
Well, he may only have one title to his career, but he's got the heart of a Hall of Famer, and he knows that this one just got away from him just a hair. That would have put all the pressure on Chris Barnes. Now Chris Barnes needs the first hit and count. First hit, 9 spare, and Chris will advance. What a great showing.
What a great showing, yeah.
Chris Barnes takes the re-rack here to think this one through a bit. Don't forget, next week, we are headed to Irving, Texas, and the Geico Classic, just outside the hometown of Chris Barnes. He's from the Dallas Metroplex. Denny's PBA Tour, ESPN, 12:30 Eastern Time. Note that start time different than today. 2 Eastern. Some great winners, including Chris Barnes, have had victories in Dallas. That's what he needs. There's the strike. Clutch.
That was just as pure as the driven snow for Chris, and we saw back in the 8th frame when he made his ace shot, it was 10 back, so he knew, get this ball off my end the way I want, and he knew it was going to be flush. One of the hardest shots to throw when you need 9, Randy. Chris must think, throw the strike.
He'll take it.
He's going to bowl his roommate for the title. His tour roommate.
Long string of futility will continue for Mike Edwards, who bowled so well today. What a finish for Barnes, who will in fact take on his roommate Mika Koivuniemi to room on the road together. What a finish for Barnes.
Great ball. Never been so easy to make the big shot. Hi, boys. Hi, Linda.
Hello to his wife and kids back home near Dallas. 9 straight strikes to finish out the match for Chris Barnes. Next up, his roommate, Major Mika. All right, Dave O'Brien, we look forward to that. Brian Urlacher and the Bears looking forward to the big Super Bowl coming up today in Miami when they take on Dwight Freeney, Peyton Manning, and the Colts. Chris Barnes getting set to take on his roommate Mika Koivuniemi in the final. Each week, we'll give you an inside look at some of Walter A. Williams Jr.'s greatest victories, the all-time tour title record holder in PBA history. Let's go on the road to #1, brought to you by Go RVing with Walter Ray, last year's World Championship.
Well, here's the 10th frame of the 2006 PBA World Championships, and it was definitely a big win.
4th frame for Walter. Does just that.
Bowling against Pete Weber, who's one of the all-time great players, and obviously one of my big rivals over the last 20, 25 years. Somebody I've been bowling against for a long time. I love bowling against Pete. He's a great player, very animated. I'm a little quiet, more reserved, but I like to throw lots of strikes to beat him. And fortunately, once in a while, I do.
Upcoming stops in the Denny's PBA Tour schedule. A rich history of the Dallas Metroplex area featuring a winner list is composed of current exempt stars like Patrick Allen and Chris Barnes in the final day. Our Norm Duke and Amleto Monticelli. So we're headed to Irving, Texas next week. Pro-Am times, the bottom there of the screen. Log on to PBA.com for more information. Then they go RVing Classic. Thunder Bowl, Council Bluffs, Iowa. Across the state line on the river from Omaha, Nebraska. Pro-Am times for more. And ticket prices, log on to PBA.com. Mike Machuga won there a year ago for his first career title. Juarez, Mexico, right across the border from where we are here in El Paso, Texas. They're all excited for Barnes and Koivuniemi. It's the final, and it's next. On Super Sunday, Colts and Bears will play later today. In our final here and now in El Paso, Koivuniemi and Chris Barnes, the roommates on the Denny's PBA Tour. Leading us to the Geico Championship roommate recap. So easy, even Randy could do it, right, Randy?
If you say so, Dave. Semifinal number 1, Mika Koivuniemi defeated Patrick Allen by the score 214 to 202. And semifinal number 2, Chris Barnes defeated Mike Edwards by the score 269 to 257. Chris takes advantage of some nice breaks and then closed the door in the 10th to advance to the title match against tour roommate Mika Koivuniemi.
Patrick Allen just competed on our show today. We'll watch now. And Chris told us today before the show that he's never faced the tour roommate on TV before, until now. Roommate recap. We got it all straight, right?
All right, I'm over it now.
I'm glad. Roommate recap. Right. All 10 down for Barnes.
Now, Norm, what I like in this match is I like Chris Barnes because of his rev rate. His rev rate is higher, meaning the revolutions on his bowling ball is higher than Mika's. Therefore, his pin carry should be better. Remember the weak 10s that we saw Mika leave? Watch this ball reaction and watch what happens when it hits the pins. Mika had trouble with weak 10s. That's the way I see it. Your thoughts?
I first off think you're exactly right, and to add to that, his rev rate allows him to stand 2 or 3 or 4 boards left of Mika. That means every shot Mika throws helps Chris Barnes. Every shot Chris Barnes throws hurts Mika Koivuniemi. Look out.
Yikes. Chops it. 8-pin stand for Mika.
Yes.
And early open frame.
And sometimes you get so caught up in your ball reaction for throwing strikes that you lose concentration to make spares. And Mika prides himself on being a good spare shooter, and that time he wasn't. So now you compound the issues of not being able to get his ball to hook enough, and he starts with an open frame. Now he's dug himself a pretty nice hole to start the title match.
Title match numbers for Mika. Not the hit he wanted. 7-pin stands for him, and this is the first ever TV matchup with Chris Barnes.
Well, you could tell just by his posture and his mannerisms that he almost looks like he's defeated before he even gets to the closing frames of this game. And it's just because of that thing we discussed, the lack of power on these oil patterns that Mika's had to bowl on this season.
Well, I don't think that you win 2 major titles and you're unable to overcome a couple of these, problems. This is Mika. And, at times Mika does what he wants to do.
Chris Barnes has won 7 times on tour, 2 majors. The former Wichita State All-American. Collegiate Bowl of the Year in '92. Has all 10 down, racked up such an impressive amateur career before hitting the PBA Tour. Longtime member of Team USA, extensive international experience. American Zone Championship Gold medal winner in 97, Costa Rica.
Yes, but he's not going to do very good with a 216 average in final matches. He's going to have to improve that. He's got a good start right now.
Well, we've seen him do that before, but Norm, you know what? Instead of talking about the Bach, I'll bet you every dollar in my pocket that he shoots better than 216 a day, and I think I got about $4 on me.
Okay, well then I'll cover half that bet.
He just has a look of confidence. His ball reaction looks great, and when his ball hits the pocket, it strikes. He's going to bowl bigger than 216.
Looks for the turkey to start this match off. That's way high and a big 4.
This ball overhooked. I tell you, this wasn't as bad as the result.
I mean, and as soon as I say that, he throws a big 4. To me, this looks soft and right, and it just overhooks.
He did get it right, but you know, that's where he's been getting all that response to give him the hook and the power, and this ball overhooks. Now, I think because of the matches before him and with Mike Edwards on the lanes, they've just burned up that spot down the lane and might have created a little over and under for him. We'll have to wait and see.
Barnes had struck 12 straight times, guys, before the Open there. Walter Williams Jr. remaining the only bowler on our tour to complete the Big 4 on TV. Years back in Atlanta. So the door opens now for Mika. Suddenly just a 3-pin deficit. That's way high. Doesn't get a break on the 6-pin. It stands.
Norm, do you think that happens because of Mika really working it, really forcing the issue at the bottom of the swing to make his ball hook?
Oh, absolutely. You know, he knows he has to do something. He makes a calculated guess of what he needs to do to get his ball to react properly, and that wasn't it.
Takes care of the 6-pin for the single pin spare conversion, leading us to the Ace Hardware matchup. Titles, Randy, pretty even between these two, Mika and Chris Barnes. Each a couple of majors to their credit. Chris is one of the big dollar events. Mika trying to get himself back on that elite level right now.
Mika, remember, he was a former player of the year a couple of years back and closing in on the $1 million mark. And you know what, the one thing about Mika is when he figures it out, he's as good as anybody out here. And we all know that it's tough to compete with a bad ball reaction. And Mika has been struggling. And even though he has been struggling, I mean, it's not like he's been invisible. It's his second show, and he's going to figure it out.
9-pin there for Mika, who's won about $850,000 in his career on the Denny's PBA Tour.
Yeah, and nobody trusts Mika like Mika. You have to compete out here and win major titles, you have to. So there's no give up in him.
Takes care of the single pin spare conversion. He's ranked 14th in the Denny's PBA Tour points list. He's had a nice year. This is his second show, but not a great year, according to Mika, as he tells us with his standards. The conclusion of this championship match comes your way from El Paso next. Paso, our second appearance here at Oasis, also here in 05 when it first opened, and quite a bowler, Norm, as Bobby Stives had the all-time record for a 7-game qualifying block, tied last week by Jason Couch in Las Vegas.
Yeah, this guy can throw strings of strikes like no other.
Impressive. Glad to have him here as well. Special thanks to Bobby.
Let's see how Chris rebounds from that last shot that he threw in the left lane where he left the big 4.
Fourth frame. Look out. Way off and light. He was lucky just to have the 2-4 there. Could have been a lot worse, Randy.
Looks right and firm to me. But that's to me. I'm looking at it up here in the booth. Chris would know better, but to me, that ball looks wide of target. Very fortunate to only leave the 2-4. The 10-pin falling late makes this a easy spare. So after 2 big games we saw by Mike Edwards and Chris Barnes in the last match, things look pretty shaky, Norm. Why is that?
Well, just about every shot that they throw is pulling oil off the front end of the lane and delivering it to the back. They have to keep up with the adjustments, both of them. Now, in the semifinal games, both players were lined up, lasted just long enough for them to get out of the game, Now here's transition.
Much better shot, all 10 down.
Chris Barnes considerably further left on that left lane and made the adjustment for the big four.
Oh, boy.
We're bowling on the scorpion pattern here.
There.
One of our main patterns on the Denny's PBA Tour. It's 41 feet long. Larger volume of oil placed further down, demanding a more direct line. That's the textbook definition, but it's in transition at this point of the day. Under the TV lights, a lot of changes take place. The oil on the lanes here. 7-pin.
Boy, and you know when Mika can't even carry the mixers or the light hits, he's in trouble.
Yeah, and then the solid nines in between. When we say transition, we know that the bowlers, it's time for them to start migrating left to more oil. When they do that, the ball spends more time in that oil, and it's harder to get the ball to recover, hook enough to strike. And as we've seen, you'll see 10-pin, 7-pin, solid nines, the whole back row.
Our Flowmax weekly update. Mika Koivuniemi with a nice bounce back after last week's 53rd place finish in Las Vegas. Barely made the top 32. Qualifying after the 2-7 game blocks in the round of 64 into match play. And here he is. Looking for his 7th title.
Says no.
Here a mixture of English and Finnish when it comes to Mika Koivuniemi. We'll hear latte, which means carry. Sesta is hold, or kado is get a strike.
All right, well, what was he saying before he threw that shot on the left lane? Because he was talking a lot of stuff in Finnish, and I had absolutely no idea what he was talking about.
It was not 60 feet to success, I'll tell you that. Back to Barnes.
That's better.
It sure is, Chris.
Better.
Right, this was the first match against Mike Edwards, and you can see where Chris was playing on that left lane, just slightly inside his second arrow. This is the adjustment that he's made since. That's a good 5 boards left at the arrows, which means he's a minimum of 10 boards left with his feet. The reason why, a good tip for you folks at home, you always want to move your feet and your target when you're making adjustments, not just your feet. And the good ratio is usually 2 to 1. 2 feet, 1 with target. Chris has made the adjustment. And that just looked awful.
Went all the way through it.
But when you move your feet to the left, it's imperative that you keep your hand behind the ball, because if you spin that cross grain, it's going to spin out there to that track and then scoot out wide of it, never recover.
Washout, guys. 1-2-10 here. Up for Chris Barnes. Backside of the oil pattern just did not react. Hit the friction at all.
Well, it went right through the spot, ended up so far right, it would never recover from there. And it almost, to me, looks like because the left lane's hooking more, that Chris Barnes has moved in, but he's opening the lane up too much. He's trying to go too far right with it.
And only an 8-pin count in addition to the open frame. This late could be disastrous for Barnes.
Yeah, he's in a bad spot now, and Mika hasn't had a problem hitting the pocket on either lane. He's just had a problem with carry, and if Mika figures that out, Chris Barnes is going to be in a lot of trouble.
Twice Mika told himself, I've had a chance to put this one away. Hasn't won since 05 in Indianapolis. Been a long time for Major Mika. The door wide open again for him. Can he take advantage? That's how you do it.
Mika going much straighter than Chris, Norm, and he's somehow now finding a way to get the ball flush in the 1-3 pocket.
Yeah, and he's not even messing with that track area to the right where Chris Barnes is trying to get his ball to rebound off of. He's trying to get it to lay right there in the oil on top of that pile further down the lane on this oil pattern.
It's been 38 events, guys, since he's won a title. 05 Baby Ruth Real Deal Classic we showed you in Indy. Longest drought of his career. He's gone 4 straight shows without a win. Longest slump also without a win. And in any language, that's a strike and a big one for Mika, who puts himself in a great spot.
And as usual, my prediction is wrong. Yeah, and Mika figured it out. Boy, and I told you, when he figures it out, then he just doesn't miss. He's found a home now.
You also lost your $4 bet. I lost mine too also. We're $6 down because Chris Barnes can make only $215 title match.
Comes in high. And a 6-10 up for Chris Barnes.
I could hook a little sooner.
Ball reaction gone.
That's today's game. You got all of this power in those bowling balls. They're like sponges. And they will peel oil off this lane at rates, especially, Randy, when we're on television. We have the lights, the heat, that rev rate, all told. Every shot that he throws changes those lanes dramatically.
Takes care of 6-10, so Normie, that's the issue then. It's a combination of different factors adding up because in the first match and semifinal against Mike Edwards, Chris Barnes couldn't miss.
Well, yeah, and you know, these guys have a pace by which they're making adjustments that they're used to, and then they get the exposure to these lights. That pace is now a lot quicker. They have to stay on top of it. Let's see how he does.
So, you know, that ball never got right of the break point because it picked up.
Well, because he was underneath the ball.
Okay.
Like I say, it's imperative he keeps the hand underneath the ball so it doesn't spin out.
Well, right now, Mika's in the driver's seat. He's already in the 2-0s. The best Chris Barnes can shoot is 205. Mika with a strike here. All he'll need is a mark in the 10th frame and good count.
Looks for a 4-bagger. He's up 31.
Well, I'll tell you what, he found a way, he figured out a way, he hung in there, and then he just pured it.
Yeah, and he told us last night that his key to success today was to trust himself.
Takes a re-rack. So what do these two say about facing each other as roommates?
Well, typically, if you make the show, the guy that makes the show, you know, pays for the room, and it's already been decided we both made the show, so if we both for the title match, the loser of that match is not paying for the room.
We've both been so broke this year, so we decided to save a little money and room together for West Coast. So. And we haven't decided who's gonna pay the room this week yet because we both make the show, but I'm gonna kick his ass in the title if he happens to get there. So I think I need to take care of the room this week.
Wow. Powerful words there from Mika Koivuniemi, who does have a 10 pin.
Really? Well, now, he needs a spare and he wins.
Yeah, and one of the best spare shooters on our PBA tour. He'll hit it full in the face.
And it's just amazing. It's amazing how good this guy is because it appears that he just won a tournament when he didn't have the goods, when he didn't have his favorite ball reaction, he had to manufacture stuff, and he still found a way to win.
I pay room this week.
There it is.
Nice of the volunteer that he'll, it appears, take home the $25,000 first place prize.
Yes!
And your winner.
Yes! Thank you, Brunswick.
Funny guy. Just wins the tournament
That's him.
and looks at Chris and goes, I'll pay for room this week.
It was about time. It was about time.
It has been a long time. The 38-event streak without a win is over for Mika Koivuniemi.
Boy, oh boy.
He'll win his 7th title.
214 was the number this week.
Lower scores than we've seen last month, last 2 months out here. It's nice to see the scoring pace down a little bit. You don't need big scores every week, but it's fun to see a lot of strikes as well.
You know, I think that's why Mika wins today, is he did not just assume that Chris Barnes was going to throw the 8-bagger. He says, look, I'm going to stay in it. I'm going to keep making shots. If I happen to come up with a late string, I can win this match. And that's what happened.
His last title on March 6, 2005. A Texas-sized smile.
It's about my time.
And celebration for Mika Koivuniemi. He wins it in the final over his roommate, Chris Barnes. The Sun City Classic on ESPN is brought to you by Prescription Flomax. By Bear, the more you know, the more you trust Bear. By Atonic, the official footwear of the PBA. Atonic, first one there. And by Motel 6, official lodging partner of the PBA. For the lowest price of any national chain, go to motel6.com. On Super Sunday, Mika Koivuniemi of Finland, super himself for the win of the final over Chris Barnes here in El Paso, Texas. 38 events, Mika without a win. And we saw how excited you were to get the victory a few moments ago. How would you best describe ending that long drought?
It's been long, almost 2 years. Last time I won, I've been a couple of times in titles, but I couldn't finish so far. But today was my day.
Congratulations. Mika Koivuniemi wins his 7th career title. He has won 2 major championships, takes the title today here in El Paso, Texas. Congratulations to Mika. He takes it over Chris Barnes. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Coming up next week, we'll see you from Irving, Texas, the Dallas Metroplex. Next here on ESPN Champions Cup Dog Show. For the entire crew, Randy Peterson, Norm Duke, it's Dave Ryan saying so long.